Welcome to Architects of Opportunities, a series on founders of nonprofit organizations. We will look at how one person or a few people saw a need in your community and found a way to fill it. Who are the people that are inspired to see a need and bring others together to lend a hand, and not for profit? They are the nonprofit founders. Founders are everyday heroes. They envision possibility and persevere to accomplish it. Founders in all sectors and across the country share a common vision. They want to make a difference. Today, we will introduce you to one organization who makes a contribution to your community. Welcome to the series. We really appreciate you being here, and I'd like to introduce Judy Edgar, the founder of 10,000 Degrees, Kim Mazzuca, the executive director for many years, 16 years, and Rondell Gibson, one of the stars of 10,000 Degrees. Although I know you're all very egalitarian and you wouldn't see yourself that way, but I'm going to just jump right in and ask you, Judy, how did this get started? What was the impetus? What was your thinking around this?
We actually had a very interesting start. 35 years ago, in 1980, a small group of educational leaders came together at the invitation of the San Francisco Foundation. And we were asked to brainstorm the concept of a scholarship organization for Marin students. At that time, I was serving as the chairman of the board of the Marin Community College District, and the other people were in other positions in education in the county. And we spent several months meeting every other week, brainstorming and hashing out and arguing about what a scholarship program should look like. And we came up with a program. We designed a program, and this small group of us started it in 1981. At that time, we had a primary program, but we had some additional parts to it. And it was far different from what we have today. And when we came up with the program, we were completely funded by Buck Trust money. So we had a start. There was clearly a need for people to have financial aid in order to go to college. And so our first program actually was based on really a traditional financial aid program. But we also insisted that the students have some ambition and desire to go to college. It's just that the program itself changed over the years.
Yes.
And we started with a major program called Marin Education Grants. And that was the primary one. But we also thought, well, there must be other things we can do. And so we designed some other programs, such as the Outstanding Student Award, which was a small program given based on ability. We had an Outstanding Teacher Award, where we chose 3 teachers a year in the county. And we had a little program called Exceptional Circumstances, which meant that if someone desperately needed money and they didn't meet the deadline, and one example was someone living in a car who really wanted to go to college. And so this program set aside some funds for that kind of a situation.
Oh, so that was a wide range of
It
offerings.
was, and it became wider before we focused.
So when you were thinking through this program and it was an idea that you and a few people, I think, but you took the lead, I think is what happened. Mm-hmm. What were you feeling about it? How did you think that what was your vision? What did you see?
Well, our vision was to help as many students as possible to go to college. We had no idea how big this would become and what a success it has become in the last years. But we wanted to use the money wisely and assist people who otherwise would not get to college, in addition to the other little programs we were doing. So that was our thought. I was very, very involved from that beginning, and really I guess I'm the only one who has stuck with the program for 35 years.
That's remarkable.
Because I'm very proud of it.
You should be, and thank you for doing that. Because so many programs get started and then they fall by the wayside because there's no one person leading the charge and keeping them going.
Yeah.
So we really
Well,
appreciate
another
it.
thing was that we were very fortunate to have the Buck Trust money, and we had, that was the only money we had, and it was enough at the beginning. And at some point, we determined that we needed to raise more money. And it wasn't until 1996 that we started trying to raise a little money in the community. And the first year we did that, we called it the Opportunity Fund. And we raised all of $40,000, and we thought that was terrific. And compared to today, it was a small amount.
Well, in
You had to
1996,
start
that was
somewhere.
worth a lot more.
I had to start
It was a
somewhere.
good start.
It was
That's
a great
right,
start.
That's right. Did you have some idea about what the need was? How many students? How many couldn't go to college? Did you have some numbers?
Well, there was an assessment done way back. I can't remember exactly when, but I think the thing that we recognized was there were so many students applying for the money that we couldn't fund them all, and we wanted to fund everybody that really needed it, but we didn't have that much, and so I think it was more of an observation than an assessment, than a formal assessment, seeing that we couldn't help everyone and we needed to raise more money.
It's wonderful because to know that, because I remember hearing about when the change was in the works, that some people in San Francisco said, well, there's no one in Marin that needs help. And I was told that they took the buses from San Francisco around in Marin to show that areas that are not up on the hill in Ross.
Well, I think there was concern that the distribution from the Buck Fund was not going to be able to be distributed at that 5% threshold, right? Because the county at the time probably hadn't done the work it needed to do to really make people aware of the need. So I think it was really a matter of timing.
So you were really ahead of your time in a way,
I think
understand
so.
there was a need. And so, Kim, what about the program? How did it evolve? You've been at this for 16 years.
It's been an incredible journey, probably one of the best journeys in my life. To this day, I always thank Judy and a couple of other of our former board members and now honorary board members for giving me such a huge opportunity and privilege to lead the organization. So I've been here for 16 years. I love it. It's near and dear to my heart. Rondell can definitely testify to that. When I came on board 16 years ago, I think there were some real key market questions that were emerging for the board of directors at the time. The big burning one, I think, was, were we having the greatest impact possible with our philanthropy? You know, for 20 years, the Marin Community Foundation, and prior to that, San Francisco Foundation, was making a distribution here pretty much to give out to scholarships. We didn't have a lot of support outside of that to make sure that we were finding the people with the greatest need. We didn't have support for programs to be able to help students get to the threshold of college. So at the time that I came on board, we went through a pretty intensive strategic thinking process. We did a lot of discovery around, we did focus groups with our parents, with students. We did a lot of research around what the college, with the post-secondary education landscape, what that was doing, where that was going. And pretty much where we landed was we were not having the greatest impact possible because we were not getting to all of the kids who really needed our support. And what that meant was we needed to do outreach. We also needed to change how we were making scholarships. We wanted to make it relative to need, not relative to school type, because different schools meet the different needs of different students. So, for example, a small private school is going to meet the needs of certain students as opposed to a larger public university. So at that time, what we did is we made all of our scholarships relative to a family's need. And we also made the decision that we were only going to be serving students coming from very low-income households. The second thing that we needed to do was to develop programs to help students get to the threshold of college. So here's a real significant issue for Marin. The reason why students aren't getting to the threshold of college is because they haven't had the opportunities throughout the entire educational pipeline to achieve. So if we take a look at the educational inequities in this county today, certain students get the basic baseline college prep curriculum in high school, and other kids don't. So what we were finding is kids were coming into our office, they did not know about the SAT, they hadn't even taken the PSAT, they had no idea what the A through G curriculum was, and here they were juniors and seniors in high school and thought that they would like to go to college, but they had no idea. The other issue that we were grappling with is that navigating that post-secondary landscape is becoming and has become a very complex environment, even for those of us who have gone to college and who now can, support our own children to get to college. So we knew that the programs had to help students get to the threshold. Then we also had to make our scholarships renewable because we wanted to keep them in school. Getting them to college is only half of the issue. The other half is keeping them in. More than 50% of students will leave by the end of their second year for two reasons. One, affordability. Two, it's not a good fit for them on that particular college campus, and they don't know how to navigate. So then we started our college success programs. So our program now has really evolved. I think that we pretty much have reinvented our model so that we are focused on those students with greatest need, and we are committed to them graduating. Hence the change in our name to 10,000 Degrees. We wanted the promise that we made to the community in our name. We also wanted every one of our students to be part of 10,000 Degrees community, hence I Am One Degree. We are a full-service, comprehensive, wraparound program. And now we even start in third grade. And you see Valentina above Rondell and Judy here, who's one of our third graders who aspires to go to college, and we're going to make sure it happens. I think in our very first year that we distributed scholarships in 1981, we put out about $400,000 in scholarships. Today we put out close to $3 million a year in scholarships, and that is all through private philanthropy and through the incredible generosity and partnership that we have with Marin Community Foundation. And then in addition to that, the majority of our resources really are allocated to our program support. So providing all the college and financial aid counseling, the intensive college prep through our institutes, our mentoring program, our college success program. One of the most beautiful things that has blossomed over the last year and a half is our new fellowship program, where we now have college graduates from 10,000 Degrees who are now hired here full-time as fellows. They're working with students in the college access side, and they're also working with our college students in the college success side. And they're going on to develop their leadership so that they can go on to make change within their own communities and hopefully the world. We are touching about 4,500 students this year. We have more than 1,000 students in college. About 1,200 plus are in high school, and the others are in elementary and middle school. We're in both Marin and Sonoma. We're in every public high school here in Marin County, and we are also expanding throughout Sonoma. The absolute best part of our work is crossing the paths of extraordinary young people who are going on to do extraordinary work, and they will be the generation who changes the world. I have no doubt. If we think about the student population, California, one of the most ethnically, economically diverse states, it is the most diverse state in the union. It also has the largest poverty rate and has the largest growing student population. 1 out of every 5 students goes to school here. We have a huge opportunity with the students in our state. Huge.
You certainly do, and I completely understand what you're doing. It's a revolution in itself, and I appreciate the opportunity that it is. You talked about the folks that come back, so perhaps we can shift focus a little bit now and hear your story, how you got started and why you decided to come back to help. That would be Good to know.
A few reasons why I decided to come back. But the number one reason I decided to come back was because I realized while working in the banking industry that I didn't get to become a banker at the time because of I knew everything by myself or I figured it out alone. It was because there was a lot of other people who believed in me and helped to pave the path. So I began to mentor while working in banking, and the mentor relationship I built with the student and the connections with his friends and the more students that came through the program, 10,000 Degrees, I realized that that's where I think my path lied. So I then stopped mentoring, or I was still mentoring, but became an intern. And through my internship here, I realized that the office wasn't just another place where people work, but it was a family and it was a community, and it's all positive energy, positive movement. It's positive movement. So I realized that this is where I think I belong. I started to look at my priorities and where did I see myself going in the future? What did I see myself doing? And I realized that I have the most fun in life when I'm helping someone else.
Wonderful.
So
Let me see if I understand. You graduated from college and went into the banking industry. And while there, though you could have made a ton of money, you decided to come back and work with 10,000 Degrees to mentor other people into that position.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I think I graduated from St. Mary's College in Moraga, and I graduated a business degree with a minor focus in economics. So I figured, I would go work for the bank or some other financial firm and make a ton of money, and then I could give money away to help. But then I realized, while interning here, is the money didn't always make the difference. It's the personal contact with an individual that sometimes makes the greater difference.
And I said, well, what do you want to do, Rondell? And he said, I want to work here. So I said, great, let's do it. So I can't remember if there was a position available or not, but it didn't matter because we wanted Rondell. When students get to work with Rondell, their entire world of opportunity opens up. He is, and I love the way our office is set up because I can be here working and I can just hear the energy and the excitement that goes on between the staff and the students when they're talking about their college acceptances or where they're going to apply or bringing their brother or their sister in or their cousin because they want to introduce them to Rondell or one of our other staff so they could go to college. It's about opening up the world of opportunity here.
Wonderful. So how many do you have now working with you that went through your program?
So we have all of our fellows. We have 8 or 9 fellows, a handful of staff. We have several on our board. We appointed the first alum to the chair of the board 5 years ago, Saul Pena, and then after his chairship, we appointed our second alum to the chair, and that was Graham Brandt, and now Pepe Gonzalez, also one of our alums, who's also a school principal at one of our local elementary schools here. So our alums are embedded. Also, one of the pieces of work that Rondell's very involved in is the summer programs, where we bring about 300 students onto college campuses during the summer for dormitory experiences. It's all intensive college prep, leadership development. We build a cohort of students. And what they do is they then hire about 25, maybe 26 alums this year to work at all the different institutes. So they're embedded throughout all aspects of the organization.
Is there any other organization like this in the country?
So that's a really good question, and I love to answer this question. We are part of the National College Access Network, which is about a membership organization, about 350 of us. So and that ranges anywhere from small scholarship organizations to a college counseling program. But we are the one full service that provides the scope of service and the amount of scholarships at the level that we do. But because we've been very fortunate to have the support of Marin Community Foundation for 30 plus years, they have really helped build our capacity to provide the scope and the depth of work that we do. So no, there really is not. I can confidently say. With that, however, we're also looking at 2 other aspects of our mission. So in addition to service delivery, it's also our advocacy work around educational equity. The reason why we have to do a lot of work in supporting our students getting to the threshold of college is because they haven't had the support in the secondary education system around the college prep. So we are staunch advocates around the college prep curriculum, the A through G curriculum. So we will probably be doing more advocacy work around that, working with some of our partners, Education Trust West, and also the National Equity Project, on helping districts think about the A through G curriculum. And then the third piece to our work, which I think will go national, is our movement, our I Am 1 Degree campaign. And that is about every individual can be 1 degree of hope, 1 degree of support, 1 degree of inspiration. And we feel that the more people who join that campaign, then the more the message will build out, hopefully like wildfire, that college is a possibility for everyone and that we can help make that happen. A large majority of our students have encountered a tremendous amount of trauma in their life. So imagine a young child at the age of 10 who has been living in a car or couch surfing for 3 or 4 years. Mm-hmm. Or some of our students who do not have documents, if you say, and their parents have been deported, who just in a moment, no longer have parents here. Our students also have a tremendous amount of resilience. They are very focused. They know that in order to move out of their circumstance, that they need to be successful with their education. They've also, because they've had to overcome so much at a young age, they've built this resilience. So they have a very solid foundation. They are very focused. They are very resilient. And when they get into college, we have to make sure that we are surrounding them with all sources of support, from the fellows, the ambassadors, the staff. So we make sure it's our job to notice any red flag going up. And we've connected with many other organizations to make sure that our students can get referred to mental health services, counseling support, whether they be on college campuses or within the community. So that's also a large part of our work. That is absolutely necessary, especially given the young student population has had to endure so much. Mm-hmm. That's our promise, because we know that if they graduate, their chances for that world of opportunity to be open to them is so much greater.
So do you have to add a 0 to that 10,000 degree name?
Well, that's a good
Someday.
question. You know how we see it is it's 10,000 students in every community. 10,000 degrees in every community. The reason why we really like 10,000, it's also the surface temperature of the sun. So it really conveys, we have a ton of energy here. I always say we're very hot about our mission. Nothing's going to stop us. Yeah, I hope someday we're at 1,000,000 degrees, and if we are, then we have just turned the table for California.
The tipping point.
Yeah.
Are you turning people away?
Yes.
Yes. So what do you need?
So, I think the answer that you would most often hear from nonprofit organizations is financial resources. And it is true, as we talked earlier when we talk about the great work that nonprofits are doing and the social justice work, and then you think about what is available in private philanthropy. It is very true. If nonprofits had more financial resources, they could be doing a whole lot more. We do need financial resources, but we also need people. We need people to be our volunteer mentors. We need people to help spread the word. We need people to help introduce others to us, because we really believe that as we build the community, as we build the masses, that this whole movement around college opportunity will take hold in a much larger, bigger, more impactful way.
I help nonprofits hire staff and leaders to carry on their founder's vision. And so I've seen hundreds of nonprofits contribute to our community. We created Architects of Opportunities to share that with you. Now, nonprofit founders will tell you they don't do it alone. If you're among the 25% of us who are volunteers or volunteer board members or staff or donors, thank you. And if you're not, please join us in making a difference.